Hey guys, Robbie K here. We're doing a surprise movie review today in the form of Searching, the box office acclaim that has been advertised, at least in my neck of the woods, for about 4 months, looking to be the next suspense, thriller, potentially mystery crime involved with it. I myself was really looking forward to this movie, and when I saw that we hadn't gotten it by Wednesday, I was a little disappointed thinking we weren't going to get it. To my surprise, it appeared today. So, as a surprise bonus review, here's today's movie review on Searching. As always, you know the method of it. We're going to do the trailer, we're going to do essentially then the stage 1 and the review, which is a quick summary, and then go into the stage 2 review. And from there, hopefully we can make your viewing pleasure a little easier to determine. Searching's context, if you haven't seen, is essentially a gentleman who seems to be a very overbearing father trying to help his daughter get to where she needs to go. Comes in the form of he seems to be missing, and going through a lot of computer belongings, starts uncovering a secret life that he didn't know about, and trying to investigate what exactly happened with his daughter, and where did she end up. It's, as tensions boil high and time continues to pass, everyone's wondering what happened to Margot, and that's where this movie takes place, with a lot of people looking and a lot of technology being used. Now, in terms of the stage 1 review, here's what it is. The movie actually surprised me in how well it was done. Very similar, excuse me for a minute. Very similar to Gone Girl, we had a lot of kind of mystery looking around, trying to figure out what in the world happened to the case. And as a result, it was actually pretty intense, pretty suspenseful, and actually did a really nice job kind of keeping the suspense, the mystery, and intrigue going. When you have all that, it makes for a very engaging tale, and it has a lot of pieces to the puzzle that serves this movie potentially being able to be rewatched to see what clues you missed. It's a fantastic one that lays things out, does a nice job of trying to keep surprises and twists going, and most importantly, does a really nice job of acting and portrayal for what's pretty much a one-man cast with a few secondary cast members to really kind of amp up the stuff. I like the approach really came into full form, and with it, it was just a very enjoyable film. Now, there are some predictable moments with it that you good mystery hunters and sleuth hunters should be able to pick out and probably figure it out. For the most part, the movie is probably going to appeal to many, and I think it was worth a lot of the press that it came through. So, you know, very good, fantastic job in that. Overall, when I give it my movie review score, I'm going to say that in its category, probably a solid 8, 8.5. While movie overall, I'm probably going to give it about a 7.5, maybe an 8. So I really enjoyed this film. I got to go into more of the likes, but overall, a decent movie that might seem cliche and unoriginal, but at the same time, has a very good presentation. So that's where stage 1 ends up. Let's hit stage 2. When it comes to stage 2, we start with the likes, as always, if you're new to the channel. And I guess we got to start with the acting. For someone who has to kind of take the lead as a concerned father, working his butt off to find his daughter, and pretty much having most of the camera on him, the lead actor did a fantastic job, like, just knocking out of the park. Overbearing as some parents would be at times, but managed to tone down, keep it dynamic, and for once not annoy me with a lot of the kind of overdramatic flair. But you know what? It's okay to be a little overdramatic, and it worked very well for the film. He brought life to it, and as all the other characters come in, such as Deborah Messing as the cop, they each play their role of adding to the case without being overshadowing or deterring from it. So overall, it was a good strength combination with a fantastic means of bringing a story to life, despite it being a simplistic act. Again, this isn't like a Lord of the Rings, a Last Jedi. It's not 50 Shades of Grey. This is a very realistic role, which I guess brings me to my second component, the realism. Yes, there is some movie magic brought into it, but overall, Searching actually has a very good use of reality-based suspense to drive the movie. A lot of things are believable. Yeah, there's a few snippets here and there of how security either it's really that lax and somebody really thought their way through on how to get around the system, or perhaps they put the little movie magic in there. But nevertheless, a good display of how to go about searching for missing people and connecting things as the case continues to progress and answers are sought out and brought. It's a fantastic ability that you just feel like this guy is acting like it really is. And no glorified monologues, no glorified acting roles of him standing in the sunset. It's just literally a fantastic display of kind of what a real role would be, and a little step back into what some of the classic movies are, which was telling a good, honest story. Now, in regards to that, as I mentioned earlier in the Stage 1 review, the suspense is actually pretty decent. These movies can grow stale very well, especially if you figure out things. And if you don't keep things fresh and a good pace, you soon may be fighting sleep as you try to keep your eyes open at the snooze fest that sometimes these things can be. I mean, after all, let's face it, Gone Girl's a great movie, but it's got its parts that are just like... Now, regardless, not being rude or anything like that, one of the biggest things that I absolutely love about it, though, is they actually really kept the movie going very well in terms of the pacing. You just have a good kind of dive into the suspense. You have a really fantastic way of keeping the things alive, as each new clue is very well timed to continue the story, all while giving you the opportunity to try to figure it out. It feels like a good mystery novel. That's why I think I just really like the pacing and suspense. There weren't too many slow parts, and I couldn't find much for editing to kind of take out because, again, things felt very well needed. So great storytelling element, which is another like in terms of it. In regards to the presentation of the computer, you know that I've liked it for previous movies and kind of seeing everything online, and it worked very well for this movie. We're starting to get that stale approach that now we're going to all do this, it looks like. But at the same time, it worked on the different level it tried to do. As in, instead of it being a horror movie with random magical hackers and spirits doing it, this one was very on point and very much capable of kind of happening, and a good utilization of the technology. So fantastic job with that and the cinematography for bringing it to life. I like the unique perspective again, because everything's told through the camera, which I think is a good artistic statement about what our society has become, and really does a great job of portraying the message. And I guess that is also a big like, is that there's messages in this movie that are there to, of course, teach you and try to hopefully tell you what not to do in these cases, but at the same time not beaten over the head with it because of the fact that, you know, there's no preachy lines or I told you so moments. It's a fantastic display of kind of a good blend of teaching lessons without blowing it out of the story. So I absolutely enjoyed that part, enjoyed the mystery components, and I guess I just really loved a lot of the balance with it. You know, so bravo in terms of that. And again, when it comes down to it, overall the mystery is actually just a pretty engaging one. So kudos to them for making a lot of the components of a good mystery that isn't solved so easily, but also isn't too convoluted or what's the word I'm looking for? Elitist, or I guess pro level, that you have to really think abstract to get to the ending. Now, in terms of dislikes, this is a very hard category for me to kind of figure out, and in all honesty, I really cannot pick stuff outside of the fact that maybe it was a little predictable for me. Even though it kept me on my toes, they did a really good job trying to deter me from the findings I had suggested and figured out a while back with a hunch. And they managed to make me question those hunches and constantly redraw it. But I was able to kind of pick out some of the predictable points, but that could just be with how many movies I've seen. So I can't really call that a dislike, but I can't call it a perfect movie because, of course, there's cliche stuff in it. I know it's going to be hard to do it, which is why I shouldn't maybe count this as a dislike, but there were so many linear factors to it that I guess the only thing that kind of took away from this was suspense, is that by seeing the trailers, understanding the components of it, it was a little trying too hard to figure out where it went. In addition, by knowing those trailers, and if you remember them as well as I do because of how often you've seen them, your chances are you're going to probably piece together that the parts they tried to throw you off on aren't really the truth. So, you know, you'll figure it out, I think. But outside of that, that's why it's just very much there. It's very much that component. I guess maybe I didn't give it the right score because I'm not finding much with it. Like I said, I think the camera work was a good utilization of it. It's just the laptop approach is it's starting to grow a little stale in terms of how we're telling everything. Maybe there's a few movie gap moments, and maybe it's just the fact that it's, I guess, very similar to some of the other things recently seen. But these are all small dislikes I can't take parts of, and I'm just searching for fishes here. Or, sorry, just grasping for straws here. But nevertheless, well, let's kind of just get to the summary. Searching turned out to be much better than I liked. And while there are parts that probably could have had some editing features into it and a little slowness, the movie itself is just very well put together. They did a nice job trying to cover all the plot holes and utilize a small enough cast to bring a lot of package to the movie. I myself enjoyed the movie and the crime component of it, despite the predictability of some of the things I figured out. And it's a good one to kind of test your power of observation and attention to details with it. So bravo for making just a very engaging mystery that, yes, cliche, yes, kind of matching some of the things you would see on maybe a Lifetime movie, only with a better budget or at least a better presentation. But bravo to them. And maybe I should raise the scores up by a point of maybe an 8 and a 9 instead of a 7.5, 8.5. Don't know. But regardless, I had a blast with this film. And I do encourage people to go see this one in theater to at least enjoy a good mystery at hand. Until then, guys, I'll put another one out very soon with Kin, which is the movie I had planned to do. Not K-E-N, but K-I-N. So until then, Robbie K signing out. This movie will be posted, video will be posted later with the other one pretty much in tandem. So until then, have a good one.